Hi everybody, how you doing today? It is Tuesday, and hey, look at that. You can see, let's see, you can see my kitty in the mirror. There she is. She's adorable. She's a little hellion. I ended up bumping into somebody who was, I'm gonna cut that out. I ended up bumping into somebody yesterday who is a veterinarian, and I was telling her, hey, I have a new kitten. I have questions for you. How much do you have to play with a 20-week-old kitten? Because none of the cats I've ever had have been as cuckoo as this one. And I love her so much. I really, really do. And I don't want to get mad at her for all that she's doing. Obviously, if she is constantly climbing every single curtain, I need to provide her with more play, more stimulation. I have every toy under the sun. I have a laser light. I have tunnels for her. Of course, anyone who's ever watched Jackson Galaxy and learned anything about cats knows that you can't just leave toys out and expect them to entertain themselves, because just like people, cats get bored. So you do have to play with them. She is napping right now. But yeah, so I love her. I'm still adjusting to her. I still have cleaning to do. But when I was talking to the veterinarian yesterday, she asked me what kind of kitty it was. And I said, she's a Calico. And she goes, oh, we all know about them. They're infamous. They have, a reputation of being sassy, Calico females. And I said, yeah, I did look some things up about the Calicos to learn about them, because I had heard that they have this temperament of being sassy and having tortitude for the Tortishells, and she's kind of a mixture of both equally. And I'd heard that, but through watching some videos here and other places, I have learned that Calicos are not they're not a breed of cat. So basically any breed of cat can have that. It's a coat pattern. So Bengals tend to act a certain way. Short hairs tend to act a certain way. Mostly cats tend to have certain behaviors, but some breeds tend to have different personality traits. It's a generalized thing, because each cat, they're just like people. Each one has their own personality. And I used to have a flame point Siamese, and Siamese are very talkative. And being one of a lighter color of Siamese, I had read that they're a little bit more passive and they're a little bit quieter and sweeter, and she definitely was. And she had all of those qualities that Siamese have. Bengals are known for needing a lot of play. If you've got a Savannah, God bless you. Do not get a Savannah cat unless you are ready to play with them a lot, because they have wild cat bred into them, which make them beautiful, but they're part wild. You want to have, what is it, an S4 or 5 and higher. So if you do, and I'm not really going to get into different cat breeds too much, but Savannah cat is a domestic cat bred with an African serval, I believe. And you have to understand, like, the same thing with dogs versus wolves. If you were to adopt a wolf pup, you might think you could train them to be like a dog. But if you think of all of the centuries that domestic dogs have been selectively bred for specific obedient traits, a lot of that wild temperament has been bred out of them, and that's why they're obedient. So it's not a good idea to get a wolf puppy, even though you think, and I'm not an expert, so anyone who is a dog expert and knows more than that, you can comment if anybody ever sees this. But yeah, if you get an animal that is a predominantly wild species of animal, you may think you can breed them. I mean, you might think that you can train that out of them, but you can't. Once they hit puberty, they will automatically have, especially if they're a male, they'll automatically have the instinct to push to be the dominant male, to be the dominant dog. And, you know, domestic dogs, that is part of their temperament. And anybody who watches Cesar Millan, and it's been a long time, so forgive me, well, he talks all about dog psychology and what dogs need. So a big part of that whole pack mentality that wolves have is still a part of domestic dogs, but you can't just adopt a wild wolf and expect it to be something you can train out of them. It is way more hardwired. It's taken, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of generations of selective breeding. So if you had like a litter of puppies and one particular one was more passive or agreeable, you would want to breed that one. And there may be slight variations in their DNA, and then over the centuries of the generations and generations and generations of dogs, they eventually bred these dogs. They bred those genes out of them, the wild, those dominant characteristics that are hardwired into a wolf. Have a lot of them have been bred out of dogs. It's still there, and you still have to be understanding of it and take care of a dog's needs, or you know, the dog will get behavior problems. But it's much more. Yeah, you can't really have a wolf. I mean, it may seem really cool, but I wouldn't. And I'm sure that there's information you can find out. I'm sure if you go to MSPCA's website or other animal websites, you can find out about that. Just like you shouldn't have a fox for a pet. Incidentally, SaveAFox is a charity on here, and she does really good works at saving these foxes that are supposed to be domestic foxes. They were raised by fur farms, so as these fur farms are closing down, she saves them. And there's a charity there, and you can find her on YouTube. So if you want to help rescue foxes, if you really like foxes, she would really appreciate that. I'm sure they're doing a lot of work, and they're rescuing a lot of foxes, and I'm sure they could use the help. Yeah, never adopt a fox. Don't adopt a fox. If you want to know why, just put that in a search. I won't even get into it. Just put that in a search in YouTube. Ask them, do foxes make good pets? And some might say, oh yes, there's a domestic breed, but there are certain behaviors that just instinctively are hardwired into foxes. They will continue to spray in your house. And unlike cats, you might be able to train them to go to the bathroom and something, but you cannot get rid of that spraying. Oh my God. People who think foxes are cute pets, their house reeks. You can't get the smell out because they mark. And so if an animal's marking their territory, their pee is going to smell. So you can't get that smell out. And they'll crawl under. Their instincts to dig is so strong. They'll get underneath your sofas and the bed, and they'll actually bite holes underneath, and they'll bury themselves in. You can't train that out. They will absolutely destroy everything in your house. How did I get on this topic? So yeah, I was wondering about her, like why she's so crazy and why she has such a strong drive. And I've had kittens. I want to say my whole life, but it's been a few decades. But when I was little, we had 2 kittens that grew into cats, and then a year or so later we had another 2 kittens that grew into cats. So I was around kittens as a kid, and then as a young adult, sometimes after high school, in my early 20s, I adopted 1 kitten, and she was the Flame Point Siamese, and she was so sweet. And she played a lot, but she didn't do that. None of my cats ever tried to climb the curtains. So when I'd hear about these kittens that act all crazy, they get the kitten crazies, I always think it's the little baby ones, like the smaller ones, because they weigh less. She is Cirque du Soleil cat. I'm not kidding. She will grab, she goes up, you know that video I posted of her and she's climbing up slowly? And I think that was one of the first times she's done it. She does not climb up slowly anymore. No, she'll grab it, she'll swing, she'll get underneath it, she'll wrap herself in it because she thinks it's great fun, and she'll... And the other day, she literally, I think 2 days ago, it might have been yesterday, I think it was the day before yesterday, she started climbing the curtain that was right next to my head, right next to my body on my side of the bed. And I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Not like she's going to listen to me because she's a kitten. So, like, great, I'm going to have to rescue her again. She's going to get wedged up on the top. She doesn't, you know, sometimes I think I worry too much because I don't think she'd have the instinct to climb if she didn't have the instinct on how to get down. And I've seen her, she can get herself down. She can get herself down just fine. Matter of fact, she's perfectly fine jumping from high, which scares me to death because I'm thinking she's going to kill herself. But, oh my God, she got all the way to the top and I kept moving over like this. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? You have to stop, you know? And I thought she was going to climb down. I'm like, am I going to have to go get her? And then all of a sudden, boom, right next to me. She jumped off of the top of the curtain. The very top. And I do set my curtains up very high because it makes your room look bigger. So literally the curtain rods are like this close to the ceiling. So yeah, she jumped basically from the height of the ceiling all the way down to the bed. Boom! Like, oh my God. I'm going to have to get her fixed soon. I'm going to start to look into, I hear that MSPCA can help give you discounted. I don't have a lot of money. I'm going to have to start picking up extra shifts or finding a new job very soon. Or maybe like an additional job, you know, maybe a side hustle or something so I can get some extra cash. But she's at that age. I'm definitely, I have to get her some blood work. That's going to be a couple $100. Yeah, I got to do that very, very soon. I'm going to check with my boss who asked me if I'd pick up a shift this week, but it ends up being on a day where the next day I'm going with my mom into a city for a doctor's appointment in the morning. So if you work a night, if anybody who works retail, if you work a night shift, the lights can be so bright that you actually don't get sleepy. Like for me, when I get home, besides rushing around, if you do rush around to finish up your day, like putting away the things that customers leave behind and straightening things up and, you know, doing the trash and filling the customer bags and everything. So you're just rushing around helping the customers that are there, and in between you're trying to finish up and purchase things that you want to get. And so between the rushing, now your adrenaline's going up because you're rushing, and the bright lights trick your eyes to think it's the middle of the day. So for the circadian rhythms, when it gets dark outside and you turn the lights down in your house, and hopefully you get a blue light filter for your phone, when the blue light, which mimics daylight, goes down and it's dimmer, and the predominant light in your house is the incandescent light, which is kind of like candlelight, your circadian rhythm knows, oh, night's coming now. Okay, I'm going to release melatonin. And it takes, it takes a couple hours for your body to start to unwind. So depending on where you work, if you get out of work at 10 or 11, maybe even if it's at 9, it takes several hours for you to unwind. So you can be up quite late. And because of that, it also affects my quality of sleep. So I don't sleep very well. I was talking in my sleep, so I had a little bit of a sore throat. What else was I going to say? So I want to say hi to everybody. I haven't been on here in a little while. I've been preoccupied with my kitten who's getting into everything, and I want to start changing some of my habits. Because I've gotten into some bad habits with my ADHD, with my week when I'm not working, the days I'm not working. So yeah, I never know when it's burnout, when it's depression, when I'm tired all the time. Maybe I'm just out of shape. So I'm also changing some of my, I'm trying to incorporate a little bit of a schedule into my week. For some reason right now, I can't stick to a planner. It's too much work and I'm not interested in it. So I might get back. This is for my ADHD friends and my autism friends. I have a chart that I used to tape onto my wall, and it had 2 weeks worth, and it was just like basic cleaning stuff. I might use that again. But in the meantime, I'm going to probably pick one day a week that I can go out and do some errands for my family. One day to get all my cleaning done. I'm probably going to try to see if I can start getting up at a certain time, go to bed at a certain time, and give myself certain goals and see if I can give myself shortcuts, you know. My idea of once-overing something is probably some other's idea of being a perfectionist, so I can really get lost in the weeds. I don't know if that's an ADHD and autism thing. I don't know if it's a me thing. I can get super perfectionist, and then on top of that, being distracted as I'm cleaning one thing, I see something else and I go do something else, and then that can lead to something else, and next thing you know, all this time went by and you didn't finish the thing that you actually started. That whole, you might still have like the dishwasher open. So I'm rambling again. That's all right. It's part of what I got. So yep, I haven't been here in a little while. I really enjoyed making little shorts for you. I think I'm going to start doing that. What else did I want to talk to you guys about? I don't want to be on too long. I want to start doing lives again, I think. I've gotten away from doing any kind of content on my channel recently, and I want to come back gradually. But I was thinking part of the thing that has been discouraging to me is that YouTube makes it impossible to get to a point where you can monetize your channel. I don't do enough content. I would have to be doing hours of lives. Some of you I met through our mutual friend on here, Genevieve, who is a late diagnosed autistic lady. She's really funny, and she's really cool. And I just lost my train of thought. Okay, I was talking about schedules. Hold that thought.